Thank you very much for joining me on this Monday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Spent the morning putting this update together for you. And I want to start off with some good news. I don't do this channel for clicks, so I want to tell you, my friends in Jamaica, we have a lot of subscribers from Jamaica. Most of the action stays down to the south. I'm not going to lead anyone on like something could change rapidly. I'm not seeing any big changes on this. It has been on track over the last week. We've actually been tracking this. Here's Jamaica, worse weather to the south. We could get some rain bands. I believe we will get some rain bands breaking that in. So if you're watching right now from Jamaica, I'm going to break that down for you. Cayman Islands also down to the south. Again, we're going to have some higher seas, stuff like that. Could get some rain bands, but the action down to the south, the greater concern down the road will be Belize and the northern coast of Honduras as this continues to make a track into that direction. So I want to lead with that. Jamaica, overall, we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to watch out for some coastal flooding. We'll get into the rain and the winds in a second. And you see it here. Look at that blob right there. That's where the bulk of the action is. But of course, we could get some of those outer rain bands working in, and you know how that goes in the tropics and across the Caribbean. Yes, that can lead to flooding, but there's the core of the system, and we're not seeing any rapid strengthening out of that. I'm not seeing that. Conditions are conducive for some gradual strengthening out of this, so not seeing this rapidly intensifying. Here's the very latest track as we track Lisa, and you see those sustained tropical storm force winds. That orange we're seeing right there, that's all offshore of Jamaica, and then that westerly track. If you're up toward the Gulf, we're always thinking about Hurricane Ian, the recovery with that. High pressure is locked in. So I'm looking at the steering conditions. I don't just look at the models. High pressure is locked in up here. So I'm about to show you the American model, but the European model, almost everything else, the exact same with this westerly track with this. And that should make a landfall near Belize or very close to the northern coast of Honduras by the time we get into Wednesday and Wednesday night. That's the time frame there. This could make a landfall Wednesday night in Belize. Of course, conditions would go downhill early on Wednesday. We'll get to that with the model. So just kind of looking ahead down the road with this, where it's going and also where it's not going. All right, let's get you to it, and I want to dissect this. Winds right now at about 40 miles per hour. I'm going to break it down in kilometers an hour. I want to break this down for everyone as we go forward. So just hang with me through this video. Hopefully I answer most of your questions. But moving off to the west. Now going out in time, picking a couple spots. I like to use this because I could dissect it right here. So as we get into tomorrow, winds could be up to 58 miles per hour, gusts to 69. And then we go out in time even further, and then picking up here, winds 63, gusts to 75. So you see the gradual strengthening, and we'll get into the water temps and seas in a second. That's a 1 right there, making it a Category 1 hurricane at landfall. Winds could be around 75. It may not become a hurricane, so it's going to be very borderline because there is some dry air it's fighting, a little bit of wind shear out here. So it may not become a hurricane, may become a hurricane. So I'm not trying to just put every option out there, but you can see the point I'm trying to make is gradual strengthening. But the watches are up for Jamaica. Tropical storm watch out, nothing for the Cayman Islands. That's been dropped. This is all going to be down to the south. And you see that blue shading. There are the tropical storm force winds now. And I like this because I could take you out in time. And you see how all of that stays well to the south of the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. But these are sometimes sprawly systems, and you get those rain bands that can work in. Plus the seas are going to be building. So that's why I'm going to break it down for Jamaica ahead. And Cayman Islands, I got my eye on you, but again, mainly to the south. So tropical storm conditions staying away. And look at the models, because high pressure is in control to the north. These models, I put all of them on here. Look how consistent they are. They are grouped together. Don't often see it quite like that. And then I'll keep an eye on Guatemala and El Salvador down the road for some of that inland flooding that will be a potential. Watching out for the potential of mudslides too, especially as we get over to the higher terrain of Guatemala. But yeah, those models, they are right in track with the overall track of this system moving off to the west. So here's the American model, and this has done the best job this season of picking up on a spin. Other models didn't even have this becoming a tropical storm. It is now a tropical storm. Hasn't always done great with the track, but the track on this one's pretty locked in as everything's kind of showing the same thing. Cayman Islands, Jamaica, and the core of the system's here. But as I mentioned, some of those rain bands getting in. This is 5 p.m. today. Take you out on time nice and slowly as we get into tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock. And you see here's Jamaica, may get some rain bands, but the core of the system's here. Cayman Islands, this is away from us. But yeah, on the backside, some of those rain bands can work in. But already tomorrow afternoon, northeastern sections of Honduras. So again, As you get over toward Roatan, we're going to watch out for some of the rain that will start to work in, some of the rain bands. And then we'll start to see late in the day tomorrow, but more so tomorrow night and Wednesday morning, some of the rain getting very close, the outer rains into Belize. So this is 6 in the morning on Wednesday. Conditions will go downhill early on Wednesday. So all the preps need to be done in Belize by tomorrow, because you can see here Wednesday morning, heaviest weather moves in and just skirting that northern coast of Honduras there, then taking you out in time slowly as we get into 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And you see here again, the system starts to push in. Could be a hurricane, strong tropical storm. Watch out for some of the rain that will eventually work inland. And yes, some of those rain bands kind of feeding in. And then look at this. I want to show you this. First, it moves inland even more so. So by Thursday, it's inland. This is Thursday morning, moving in Wednesday night. But there's that rain moving in here. So watching this, could see some of that rain still around. But then looking down the road, there's going to be a huge buildup of moisture near Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia. There are some signs another area of low pressure may develop here and kind of drift to the north. So putting that on the back burner, but I want you to know that I'm watching everything out there. It looks like at least the first half of November is going to be very busy. Even if you're watching the Eastern Caribbean right now, say Antigua and Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago, there are some signs another area of low pressure may kind of try to develop. So I'll be watching that over toward Guyana and Suriname. So Jamaica, we're in better shape. Not to say we can't get some rain, 25 millimeters or more. Could see a couple inches of rain. And because this is a tropical storm to the south, yes, that possibility of some of that coastal flooding in some of the typical spots that get it. So I'm watching our southern coast in particular, and we'll keep an eye on those rain bands. But again, this is mainly to the south. Can't stress that enough. I'm not sure what all the other videos are showing out there, but I'm just telling you exactly what I know and exactly what I see. We're not going to do any hype or anything with that on this channel. All right, let's get you forward as we get here. This has been staying on track. I think I've been showing this map, aside from subtle tweaks, the last couple days almost exactly the same, which makes me feel good because I do this channel for safety. And this is giving you the heads up, Belize and Northern Honduras, that we need to prepare for some hurricane conditions, which could be winds 75 to 80 miles per hour, roughly 125 to 130 kilometers an hour. That would be at the core of the system where it comes on shore, mainly in Belize. But this is really the northern coast of Honduras and Belize. You want to take those hurricane preps. Still watching it up toward Mexico, though, too, because those rain bands will filter in. We'll get pockets of flooding. Inland Honduras, watching Guatemala, El Salvador, even Nicaragua, just depending on how this moves in, we may see some enhanced rain. So got everyone covered as we watch this system kind of work its way in. Now look at the seas. This is 2 days from now. So this is by the time we get into really late tomorrow into Wednesday, and you see the buildup of seas here. So we're looking at about 4 to even 6 meters, even upwards of 7 meters if this strengthens, more so about 5 to 6 at the peak, but that would equate to seas over 15 feet. So in some spots here. So of course, watching the Western Caribbean, elsewhere, not a whole lot as far as the seas are concerned. I mean, it's choppy in spots, but clearly not what we're seeing here. So for our mariners, captains, I'm keeping an eye on things. Now I want to point out this, water temps are very warm, about 31 degrees Celsius. So it's about 87 plus Fahrenheit. So water temps are warm, we know that. But here in the Western Caribbean, there's high heat content. That's important. Water temps are almost always warm for a tropical system to develop during the hurricane season. So we have that in place. But what I really look at is the heat content. Not only is it warm at the surface of the water, it's very warm down at the bottom. And that's important because if a storm goes over high heat content, an area of high heat content, it will just churn up the water, but it churns up more warm water so it could continue to strengthen. Sometimes you get these going over warm water, but it's kind of cold below it. And that water eventually makes its way to the surface and helps those systems weaken, which is good. But in this case, unfortunately, high heat content. That's why I do believe there'll be some of that gradual strengthening as this heads over toward Belize and Honduras. Hope I explained that okay for you. So what do I need to do right now with this system on the move? Jamaica, just watching it, monitoring any rain bands, any potential flooding, and watching out for some of that coastal flooding. But just watching it. Again, it's generally business as usual, but you know, we're weather savvy in Jamaica, so we're keeping an eye on that. Belize, we're making those hurricane preps. Hopefully it's not anything that gets too strong, but we're going to need to prep for flooding if you're in one of those low-lying areas that takes on flooding. I know Ladyville, that's one of those, and we've seen it this season. May need to seek higher ground, make those preps. Hurricane conditions, Belize, I got you covered on this channel. Thank you for sharing this with your friends. Honduras, but more so the northern coast, making those hurricane preps as we monitor those outer rain bands. So I'm going to keep you updated on this. This should generally hold throughout the day, but like yesterday, if there's any changes, I'm going to jump back in. I'll get you another video and give you those updates. But again, Jamaica, we're just watching this. Cayman Islands, pretty good shape. Belize, Honduras, northern coast of Honduras, making the hurricane preps to stay on the safe side. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for being part of this channel. Hope you have a good rest of your day.